Don't play the game in the woods. I didn't think this woods game was real, like, not actually real, until the night I played it. And even now, months later, I don't know how to talk about it without sounding absolutely nuts. I was never that kid who believed in ghosts or Bloody Mary type crap. Rituals, curses, whatever. My hometown's full of those stories, though. One stoplight, surrounded by dusty hills and woods, and everyone's always whispering about creepy stuff that supposedly happened back in the day. But none of the stories ended well. Ever. Everyone called it the woods game. No one could agree on where it came from. Some said it was a settler curse thing. Others swore it was made up by bored teens in the 60s who then mysteriously disappeared. Honestly, the stories contradicted themselves every 5 minutes. But the rules? The rules never changed. 2. Bring a regular 52 card deck, no jokers. 3. Go into the woods alone, at exactly midnight. 4. Shuffle 7 times, no more, no less. 5. Deal 3 cards face up in front of you. If those 3 cards are the hand, you wait. And if something shows up, don't look away. Like, ever. No one even knew what the hand meant. Some said blackjack. Some said 3 of a kind. Others claimed it was different for everyone, like the cards would whisper to you what counted. But always, if something comes, you look at it and you do not look away. When I was 13, we dared each other to sneak into the woods at sunrise. By 16, kids were doing midnight runs. There were stories, of course. An older girl who freaked out so bad during the 7th shuffle she cut her own hand. A boy who sprinted out of the trees screaming and never spoke again. I always thought it was just urban legend garbage. History class taught us more about Civil War cannonball sites than ghost rituals. And yeah, the town felt weirdly empty sometimes, but I chalked it up to people moving out. Just small town fade, you know? The woods at Miller's Creek always seemed kind of chill, honestly. Pretty even. Fireflies at night. Perfect golden light at sunrise. Not the kind of place that screams ancient evil. But then came last August. I was 21, back home for the summer. It was brutally hot, days blending together. Same routine every day. Work at the hardware store, lunch at Gina's diner. Evenings with Evan and Melissa. My 2 ride or dies since elementary school. Evan was finishing up college. Melissa was this artsy genius, always doodling birds or spooky trees in her sketchbook. And me? I was the designated skeptic. Big fan of detective novels, zero belief in anything I couldn't fact-check. So, one Thursday afternoon, we're at Gina's, and Evan suddenly goes, "Hey, have you guys ever heard about the game?" He had that mischievous half smirk, like he was about to drop something cool. Melissa rolled her eyes. "The dumb woods game?" "Yeah, my cousin tried it once. Big spooky nothing burger." I laughed. Total BS. People love scaring themselves. I noticed Gina, our waitress, flinch when she walked by, like she didn't want to hear what we were talking about. Evan didn't say anything, just grinned and slid a brand new deck of cards across the table. Midnight, Miller's Creek. I brought beer and a flashlight. "You in?" We hesitated, of course. The hike out to the creek was like 2 miles from where the trail started. And after dark, those woods turn into pitch black. You can't see your own hand in front of your face. But we said yes, because of course we did. By the time we left the diner, it was a little after 9. We all piled into Melissa's beat-up sedan, the one with the Stay Weird bumper sticker and a window that wouldn't roll up. Warm night air drifted through the car. Evan had his flashlight, Melissa had her sketchbook, and I had that brand new deck of cards sitting on my lap. I remember thinking, this is so dumb. We're going to drink 2 beers and scare ourselves and then go home. The road out to Miller's Creek felt longer than usual. Streetlights stopped about a mile back, and the headlights only lit up the first few feet of gravel. We parked where the picnic tables were half swallowed by weeds and grabbed our stuff. The hike in was dead quiet. Trees leaning over the trail like they were eavesdropping. Fireflies blinking all around us like glitchy LEDs. Melissa kept laughing nervously and trying to sketch as we walked, scribbling weird little shapes on the page even though she couldn't see much. Evan strode ahead with the flashlight, beam cutting through the dark like a comet. By the time we reached the clearing by the creek, it was almost 10. The water made this low silver noise over the rocks, and the air was colder there, damp enough to taste. We dumped our gear on a couple mossy logs: beer, lantern, matches, deck of cards. The deck looked totally normal, but also off. Maybe because it was so new. I half expected it to come with instructions. We cracked open beers and sat around, passing them back and forth, telling dumb stories. Childhood crushes, campus gossip, summer plans. The kind of rambling you only get when you're far from everything and the night feels endless. The fire we'd built burned low. Stars showed up overhead one by one. I lit a cigarette. I swore I'd quit. Everything should have felt cozy, but the dark pressed in like a wall. Evan checked his watch and stood. "All right," he said quietly. "As soon as it hits 12, we're doing it." Melissa had her sketchbook clutched to her chest. "Are you sure?" she asked me. Her voice was shaky. I forced a grin. I'm the skeptic, remember? If anything happens, it's my fault. She didn't look convinced, but nodded. At 11:59, Evan handed me 2 beers, one full, one empty, and the deck. My fingertips buzzed like static. I felt like a tightrope walker about to step off into nothing. The next few minutes were a blur. I cracked the beer, sipped, crushed the can. I tore the plastic off the cards. Evan and Melissa were pale, eyes wide. We all held a breath, like we were about to jump into freezing water. Shuffle. 1. The cards made a soft click as I rifled them. The creek burbled. Cicadas hummed somewhere far off. My pulse was loud in my ears. Shuffle. 2. Turned the deck. Mixed again. My throat was tight. Shuffle. 3. Breeze hissed through the pines. Thought I saw movement just outside the lantern glow, but when I looked, nothing. Shuffle. 4. Left hand shaking. Forced myself to finish. Eyes locked on the deck like it was the only thing keeping me alive. Shuffle. 5 and 6. Cards cool against my palms. I closed my eyes for a second, trying to calm down. Heard whispering, soft as leaves. Shuffle. 7. Stacked the deck carefully. My friends held their breath. Every hair on my arms stood up. I dealt 3 cards onto a flat rock. Ace of diamonds, 10 of clubs, King of spades. Not a straight, not a flush, not three of a kind. I let out a laugh that cracked. See? Nothing stomped the empty can flat. And nothing, Melissa whispered. I shrugged, wiping my sweaty palms on my jeans. Ghost story fail, let's pack up. Evan reached for the deck. Not yet. His voice was too steady. Everybody says you have to do it yourself. You shuffled, you deal. Last chance. You want me to do it again? I asked. He nodded. We stick to the rules. Melissa looked like she wanted to throw up, but gave me a tiny nod. Do it. So I took the deck again. This time the air felt heavier, like every tree around us had leaned in to watch. My hands were damp. Shuffle once, snap. Twice, click. 3 times, and I froze because I swear something moved between the trunks. Just a shadow, gliding. I forced myself to keep going. 4, 5, 6. By 7, I was sweating, vision tunneling. The forest murmured, or maybe it was my blood in my ears. I dealt. King of spades. King of hearts. King of clubs. 3 kings, crown to crown. My gut clenched hot. Melissa's face went white. Shit, she breathed. That's it. 3 of a kind. The woods went unnaturally still. The creeks babble, the insects. Everything cut off like someone muted the world. My teeth chattered. I half rose, heart hammering. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. From the line of trees just outside the lantern's glow. 1 step. Another. Each one a dull thump echoing off the trunks. Evan gave a shaky laugh. Okay, who's screwing with us? My spine crawled. No one else came, I whispered. Melissa pressed against me. Remember the rule. Don't look away. I nodded, throat dry. My eyes locked on the cards, but my peripheral vision caught movement. Something slipping from shadow to shadow. A figure emerged. At first I thought it was a man, tall, rail thin, black suit like a funeral, arms hanging too straight. Then it stepped into the firelight and I saw the face. Or more like the lack of one. Smooth skin, like a porcelain mask melted over it. No eyes, no mouth, no nose. Just blank flesh stretched across a skull. My breath stopped. My limbs iced over. It paused at the fire's edge, tilting its head left, then right. Slow. Almost curious. I could feel it staring even though there were no eyes. The air smelled sour and heavy. My body screamed to run, but my brain screamed the rule louder. Don't look away. So I stayed frozen, locked onto it. Evan cracked first. He gave this strangled laugh. Like if he acted casual, it would go away, and turned his head. The thing moved faster than I could blink. 1 second it stood by the fire. The next, Evan was gone. No scream, no thud, just empty space where he'd been. Melissa clawed at my arm. "Don't look away," she sobbed. I couldn't move. The faceless figure turned back toward us, stepped closer. I smelled rot, nails tapering to points, and touched the cards. It flipped each over, tucking them back into the deck like it was mocking us, copying what I'd done. When it had replaced the last king, it straightened. Then, in a voice like wind grinding through dead branches, it said, "Your turn." The words didn't just land in my ears. They rattled inside my bones. Your turn. It felt like being dropped into freezing water. I couldn't move, couldn't think. I stared at the thing, its blank face inches from mine, and felt every instinct in my body screaming to run, to scream, to do something. Melissa broke first. She screamed, raw and sharp, and bolted into the trees. Her lantern flew out of her hand, sparks bursting as it clipped a rock. I saw her blonde hair vanish into the dark. Gone. The faceless thing didn't chase her. It just turned its head, slow and jerky, like a marionette with a broken string. Then, it turned back to me. I was the only one left. It stepped forward. I didn't even feel my body move, but suddenly it was so close I could feel air shift where its mouth should have been. And then, it smiled. Not like a normal person smiles. The skin on its face split, like porcelain cracking under heat. A jagged grin tore itself across where a mouth would be, top of the cheekbone to cheekbone. No teeth, just a gash. My knees gave out. I collapsed but still didn't look away. Couldn't. It leaned in. I felt its breath, somehow, wet and cold and earthy, like dead leaves. Then it whispered, "Shuffle." That one word hit like a train. The world blurred. My hand reached out like it wasn't mine. My fingers gripped the deck. I looked down and realized I'd already shuffled once, then twice. By the third shuffle, my heart was punching my ribs. I wanted to scream, but all I could do was deal. I obeyed. The thing watched, head twitching like a broken bird's. I finished the 7th shuffle. I dealt the cards. King of spades, king of hearts, king of clubs. Again, the same hand. The creature didn't move, just stood there, as if waiting. The air around me throbbed with pressure, like a storm was crouched above the trees. I don't remember how long it lasted. Minutes, hours. Time felt broken. Then, without a word, it stepped back. Its faceless head tilted toward the trees. It turned, and it walked away. No footsteps, no rustling. Just gone. As soon as it disappeared, the forest came back to life. Wind. The creek babbling like nothing happened. The fire was mostly ash. The lantern flickered once, then went out. I sat there, alone, staring at the deck on the rock like it might bite me. I waited for Evan to laugh and call it a prank. Waited for Melissa to stumble back through the trees. Nothing. Just silence. I whispered their names until the sun came up. Nobody answered. I stumbled back into town just after sunrise. Clothes damp with dew. Dirt caked on my knees. I must have looked like I'd crawled out of a ditch. I expected chaos, Cops, EMTs, news vans, parents screaming, people asking where I'd been, what happened to Melissa and Evan. But nothing. The world just kept going. The hardware store opened at 8 sharp. Gina's diner had the same old burnt coffee smell. People nodded at me like it was just another sleepy Friday. No one asked where I was. No one asked where they were. I started to feel sick, like I dreamed the whole night, or died and no one told me. I went to the library. Don't ask me why. Instinct, I guess. I pulled out the old yearbooks from the archive room. Class of ours, senior year. My hands were shaking before I even flipped the first page. My photo was there. My dumb smile, awkward haircut, same as always. But Evan? Melissa? Nothing. No portraits. No names in the class list. Not even in the club pages or candid shots. Just blank. Evan's desk in homeroom, marked empty. Melissa's art in the senior gallery, gone. Like someone scrubbed them from memory. No obits. No "we miss you" posts. I hit every source I could think of. Church records, school rosters, town census docs, local paper microfilm, zip. It wasn't just that they vanished. It was like the game rewrote the town, so they never existed in the first place. I started to wonder if I was losing my mind. Like, legit breakdown. Maybe I'd imagined them. Maybe I made up 2 whole people in my life and the game was just some weird solo hallucination. Except, the deck was still there. I'd shoved it in a metal lockbox under my bed. 7 padlocks. Like that would do anything. But I checked it every day for a week. Still there. Still sealed. I didn't touch it. Not even once. I told myself it was over. That I survived it. That I beat the rule by following it. And for a while that lie worked. A few nights ago I had the dream again. I was back in the clearing. Same mossy ground. Same flickering lantern. Same deck in my hands. The air smelled like pine needles and damp bark. My heart was thudding like I was about to pass out, but I still went through the motions. Shuffle 1. Shuffle 2. By shuffle 7, my fingers were bleeding. Little cuts on the edges like paper had turned to razors. But I finished. I dealt. King of spades. King of hearts. King of clubs. Again. Always again. The forest didn't make a sound. Even the creek was silent. Then I saw it. That figure. Taller this time. Thinner. Even more wrong. Its blank face twisted into that shattered grin. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. The lantern flickered and it leaned in. Cold breath brushing my ear. Your turn. I woke up gasping, tangled in my sheets. Room dark. Too dark. I fumbled for my nightstand drawer, hands shaking, and froze. The deck was back. Not the sealed one, Not the locked away one. A new one. On top of my nightstand. No wrapper. No seal. Just sitting there. Waiting. I stared at it for 10 whole minutes, not even blinking. Then, slowly, I picked it up. My fingers brushed the edge. Ice cold. I drew 3 cards and laid them face up on my desk. King of Spades. King of Hearts. King of Clubs. I almost threw up. My legs were jelly. I backed away like the cards might bite me. I wanted to burn them, toss them in the fireplace, set the whole apartment on fire if that's what it took. But I didn't. I just stared. And then I saw it. In the corner of the room, down by the dresser, something moved. Just the smallest shift. Like a tall, thin shadow crouched low. Waiting. Watching. My pulse exploded. My mouth went dry. I remembered the rule. If the thing comes, don't look away. But this time, I don't know if I can do it again. I don't know if I have it in me to sit there and not break. Because the first time, I lost my friends. This time, if I look away, I think I'll lose me.